Getting back to Lena here, the Brown family, living on the eastern edge of town, probably on a modest homestead of 30 to 40 acres, began to succumb to the disease in December of 1882. Lena's mother, Mary Eliza, was the first. Lena's sister, Mary Olive, a 20-year-old dressmaker, died the next year. A tender obituary from the local newspaper hints at what she endured. They went on the right. The last few hours she lived was of great suffering, yet her faith was firm and she was ready for the change. The whole town turned out for her funeral and sang, "Oh, Sweetly Solemn Thought," a hymn that Mary Olive herself had selected. Within a few years, Lena's brother Edwin, a store clerk whom one newspaper columnist described as a big, husky young man, sickened too and left for Colorado Springs, hoping that the climate would improve his health. Lena, who was just a child when her mother and sister died, didn't fall ill for nearly a decade after they were buried. Her tuberculosis was galloping, as they would call it, which meant that she might have been infected but remained asymptomatic for years, only to fade fast after showing the first signs of the disease. As Lena was on her deathbed, her brother was, after a brief remission, taking a turn for the worse. Edwin had returned to Exeter from the Colorado resorts in a dying condition, according to one account. If the good wishes and prayers of this many friends could be realized, friend Eddie would speedily be restored to perfect health, another newspaper wrote. But some neighbors, likely fearing for their own health, weren't content with prayers. Several approached George Brown, the children's father, and offered an alternative take on the recent tragedies. Perhaps an unseen diabolical force was preying on the family. It could be that one of the three Brown women wasn't dead after all, instead secretly feasting on the living tissue and blood of Edwin, as the Providence Journal later summarized. So this was like reported in a newspaper.
Yeah.
So if the offending corpse, the journal uses the term vampire in some stories, but the locals seemed not to, was discovered and destroyed, then Edwin would recover. The neighbors asked to exhume the bodies in order to check for fresh blood in their hearts. George Brown gave permission. On the morning of March 17, 1892, a party of men dug up the bodies as the family doctor and a journal correspondent looked on. George was absent for unstated but understandable reasons.